talk about. Are you ready for this? I got the iPhone 15 Pro Max officially.
I see you're a Bieber fan. That's good.
Oh, how'd you know I was a Bieber fan?
Oh boy.
It's pretty cool, bro. It's pretty fast.
So instead of a picture of your girlfriend, you have a picture of Bieber.
I mean, Bieber is technically all I need. You know, he's all that matters, if you know what I mean.
Oh, listen, that's a good-looking guy with a lot of tats.
That's painful.
Carlos, you like my iPhone 15 Pro Max?
No, I don't actually.
Why don't you like it? Why don't you like my iPhone 15
Is that
Pro?
like the picture that came with the wallet? Did it just come with Bieber?
It just came with Apple. I don't know why they have a partnership with Justin Bieber.
It doesn't just come with Bieber. He put Bieber on. You know that.
I don't know if you're doing that as a joke, but it's like it's not funny. We gotta have a serious chat
about Bieber.
About that, yeah. Like, why are you putting this like half naked like simp on your?
First
phone?
of all,
okay, somebody doesn't like Bieber here.
He's very attractive. Okay, Chris, I was talking about my new iPhone 15 Pro Max. This came preloaded with Apple.
Well, we should start off the bat. Some people are here. Hit that like button. You're right. Who said? Fuddbucker said, smash that like button, everybody.
Oh, we were live the whole time? I didn't even realize.
Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that like button.
Hating on Bieber live.
We got to be better at this shit. You know?
I'll hate on him. Yeah, I'll hate on his ass.
We're like
why don't you like Justin Bieber? I feel like this is personal.
I think he's good. Totally good.
And I kind of met him. There's a spot out here called, there's a spot in LA. People in LA would know it, called Delilah. And it's kind of like.
Yeah, it's a club.
You know it?
Yeah, it's Drake hangs up. It's like a famous club for.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you know it. Yeah, and it's like really hard to get in. It's like it's always packed, but it's invite only. And I was rolling with this girl at the time who was always kind of on those lists. And we got in there one night, and as we were outside, Bieber's DJ rolled up. And if you know the guy, he rolled up in this like a black SUV. He had a bunch of girls with him, and then like a little while later, what's his name rolls up through the back door. Bieber rolls up in his pajamas, like literally had fucking pajamas on. He rolled up, and this was before. It was live. It was a public.
He's peacocking, baby. You know that,
bro. He looked like a bum. And so he rolls in like these sweatpants and his freaking pajamas, and he walked in with Kourtney Kardashian. This is before anybody knew that they were together. And that place, listen, that place you can't take any photos. You whip your camera out, they're gonna throw you out. Yeah, there he goes.
But that's why you hate him, because he was wearing pajamas. That's
no.
Like
I'm not just not a fan of the guy. I'm not really a fan of his music.
Is that the new phone?
It's a new 15 Pro Max that I only paid $370 for. It's pretty cheap for a new upgrade.
And only a 6-year loan.
No, I paid it up. I just gave the cash to my sister because she.
I really want to get one. I've been on the 14 or the 13. I love it. I mean,
dude, it's fast. I'm noticing, like, because my old phone was 3 years old. This shit is fast.
What model did you have? Which one did you have?
I had a 12 Pro Max, which was a good phone, but like it was 3 years old. Like after 3 years, this shit's gonna slow down.
I'd say after the 13, Apple made it really hard to justify purchasing a new phone every year, because every app opens instantly. It almost never crashed. Like I've had this phone for years. It never, no apps crash. Like it just absolutely works all the time. I barely restart it. The camera's amazing. So I've never had a reason to upgrade since. But that USB-C shit, man, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm really wanting that. So I will probably be getting the new.
Dude, I like it. YouTube's fast. Twitter is fast on it. Like my app started working faster on this thing. I was just like, wow, this is great. Like the CPU in this is just amazing.
You gotta put that as a release note.
It's like, yo, everything's faster.
Everybody buy the new iPhone so a deal works better.
It's faster than me, and you know what? It's like it's fast.
I contacted my accountant. I'm like, these are all my investments. This is my IRA. And I'm like, so I gave this punk money. I invested in his startup. How do I write this off as a loss right now?
Yo, if that 10,000 ends up turning up to be better than an Enphase investment for you one day,
that's impossible.
You're gonna have to eat shit.
I'm swimming in the Enphase investment. How is that gonna?
Well, that's true.
I'm literally swimming in it.
You're already swimming in it. I'll be swimming in the Enphase investment one day too in the summer.
Maybe next summer.
Enphase 52-week low today. Yeah. I bought some PayPal today.
Why don't we start the discussion there? Today was obviously a very very red day. A lot of stuff happened. Let's start with you, Vitaly. Why do you think the market's bottomed today? Did you do any buying?
You're already saying it bottomed? Did you just say?
I mean, not bottom. I mean,
you heard it here, guys. He called the bottom. Ring the cowbell.
Why did the market bottom?
I said S&P was going to 420. I've been saying on the live stream for like.
No, we've been saying it. What? We were talking about the gap that was going to be filled.
It's
And
not
so,
some magic prediction. It's the 200-day moving average. I thought we were going to get there, and it seems like
yeah.
we're going to get there.
Yeah, so the gap was filled, I believed already, but I think there's another one at 3,900 and somewhere in 4,000. I think Fuddbucker might be able to check those stats, but I think we have a couple of more little gaps that I think could possibly get filled. But I'm still of the belief that we are in a secular bull market while we are just having this massive pullback in the S&P. That's all I'm thinking. Are we at 10% yet? We're finally at 10%, right?
Basically we're at 10%. Yeah.
But at the same time, and there was an interesting interview, I forgot, actually on CNBC, but the guy said basically, so we believe we're in a bull market. I agree with him, but he caveated that by saying that he believes it's for the big seven, basically the S&P. He believes the S&P is going to catch up and it's going to move up. But the stocks like ENVX, which are dependent on rates, would still be basically hammered. So that guy is not going into those stocks being affected by high rates, which fine, that's fine. He doesn't want to buy when the dip is happening, but he believes we're in a bull market as well, and I agree with him. I could bring up his name also if you want to know it.
Okay. Carlos, your thoughts on what happened today, and if you did any buying?
I did. I mean, I've been doing the daily DCA into Bitcoin. I almost bought ENVX today. I was really, but I'm like, I'm just gonna still hold on. But I just had to buy some PayPal. It's been, $58. I got it in at 58. It said like 57. What did it close? I don't even know. I
You
did
bought shares?
me in the morning.
You bought shares or you bought spreads?
I bought shares. I mean, I have those spreads sitting in Robinhood they're just sitting there bleeding.
I DCA'd into those as well. I got
but I was like, whatever. And I almost bought some Robinhood today. Look, normally I would just be dumping all of my cash into the markets at these prices, but I'm just trying to have it be a slow trickle. I think the real, what's his name? The real John Sarge said it in the chat that he's waiting for the BTC to go red before jumping in. That's what I'm waiting for too. For me, that's what's really going to mark like a bottom when people finally get out of their crypto. And they're still holding on to it. What I think's happening, I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like since 2020 and the stimulus checks, we've had way more retail participation than ever before. And so I think we would actually be a lot lower if it wasn't for retail booing some of these stocks and even the crypto market. So I don't know. I don't know that we're in necessarily a bull market. I kind of feel like we're in a holding pattern. We're just sort of flying around waiting for some news. That's what I think. And
well, if you look at the S&P, we're still going in the same direction.
Yeah, we're up 10% year to date now.
Okay, year to date, but I mean that's not. I don't know. That doesn't to me mean like.
Okay, look over the last 5 years.
Happy
You're
and rallying.
10-11% on average.
Yeah. You can say that we're still up from those levels, but I just don't see even with the index that we're still in some sort of fear or extreme fear. Yeah, I don't know that fear is the word. I just think it's hesitation. I don't know.
Yeah, we did go to extreme
right now.
Yeah, we got to extreme fear today. Kris, why do you think markets were in extreme fear outside of the obvious? 10-year went up to 4.7, and did you do any buying today? You're muted.
You're muted, by the way.
I just bought a little bit more Google with the Google spreads. Google's a no-brainer in my opinion. So it's just like one of those things I don't mind adding. I think right now, a lot of the market is being driven by sentiment around a higher for longer narrative, which I think is completely wrong. The JOLTS report came out today, and that really scared the shit out of the market because I was like, oh, what do you mean job openings? There's more job openings now, especially considering that the consensus was like 8 million something job openings. It was like 9.6 something. So
it's a crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Crazy amount of job openings that are up there. But, the thing that people forget with JOLTS is that it's backward looking. Like they're looking at data from August 31st and that. And so a lot of employer hiring decisions are made not like early. I mean, not like, okay, I need to hire someone and then, and then the job opening gets posted like within, a day or two. The way that it typically works is that things are budgeted out like really far into the past. And then eventually they make their way through HR and then HR posts them and then all the other stuff. And so right now, if you're looking at real-time data, I'm seeing a lot more people on the cutting back on expenses. So I think that cutting back on expenses is not going to be reflected until probably December or January of next year, especially with the higher interest rates. A lot of companies right now are going to be scaling back employees, like how are you able to refinance your debt at much higher levels and maintain the same employee headcount? So I see a lot of businesses reducing down headcount going forward. I mean, not to say that they haven't already been doing that, but it's just more so now than ever before. Economic activity, thanks to the higher interest rates, is going to slow down. Capital is a lot less available, so there's tightening all over the place when it comes to the banks. The banks can right now get a 5% return on treasuries without doing anything right now, right? So why would they want to take a risk and say, yeah, let me lend to what is that thing called, like to a company or any other business, especially where they're actually having new regulations come out that limits their ability to lend. So right now we're in a
So you think the JOLTS was an anomaly? It wasn't like some big trend?
I just think that it should not have been given the importance nearly as much as it was given today. And then what's his name? Rick Santelli came on and his ass like started to go super bear. Like he was like, oh, we could probably see 13. Did you see that, by the way? That's
no, I didn't see that part. I didn't see that part.
Let me bring it up.
He's always bear when bad data comes out.
Does it break it down by which job sectors these openings
Yes,
have?
it does. I can.
I mean, you know, just a couple of quarters ago, all these tech companies laid off thousands of people. It would make sense that you overfired and now you want to fill some of those positions again.
The thing is, last time we had 8.8 million, and this time it's fucking 9.6.
Are they counting all those? Are they counting all those people in New York, all the illegals in New York?
I mean, I don't know about that, but it was a pretty big uptick, which is why the S&P was at 425. It dropped to 422 as soon as this shit came out. So, what is it? You guys see this, right? Yeah. Non-farm labor.
Wait, let me see that.
Where's the actual?
This release includes estimates of the number and rate of job opening separations for the total non-farm sector by industry and establishment size.
Oh, here we go. So professional and business services, 509,000. These are like consultants and stuff. Finance and insurance, 96,000. State and local education, 76,000. Non-durable goods manufacturing, 59,000. Federal government added 31,000 employees.
They added, these are job openings.
Job openings.
Yeah.
Okay,
so can we see that again? Increase to professional business.
The federal government should have a hiring freeze. This is
absolutely.
Bro, we didn't even get into the McCarthy stuff. We don't have a Speaker of the House anymore.
Oh, that and
like,
did they vote him out? They needed 5 Republicans.
Yeah, check this out.
And do you know why you don't? Because he supported Democrats for 1 minute.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Chris, play his segment and then
yeah.
More streets are going this year, all the way from the Windy City, the one and only Rick Santelli.
Yeah, we can hear it.
You can hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Clap him in. Clap him in. Oh, there we go. Clap him in. Royalty.
And he joins us with his world famous easel, by the way.
Well, I do apologize. I don't have all my equipment.
He was playing Pictionary when I was watching this.
Chart.
I don't know about you, but
I'd like to say a few things. I personally always find anniversary dates very key. And I can't help.
You know, it's funny that you guys can hear it. I can't hear it.
Raise the volume on YouTube.
Just shy of 16%.
So
what I'm talking about here might be dancing between the raindrops. You never
whatever.
want to go against a market that is burning to the upside. But you might want to give it a pause if it looks like it's going to back away a bit. But in the grand scheme of things, I think rates are going higher. So let's go to the charts. Like I said, not my best work, but high, low, perpendicular, midpoint. We always pay attention to those, especially when one of those points is the all-time low closing yield at 0.5%. So you take the high, you take the low, you connect it, you find that midpoint, you draw a perpendicular line. And what you find is it just keeps you on the straight and narrow. Those are very key. The more important the spike levels are, whether it's a key high or key bottom, those make it work that much better. Now, this chart is really off scale. Remember, when you're doing these charts, you got to use logarithmic paper. This is just a rough gauge, but there's your near 16%, 781 for your anniversary date. And the whole point of this chart is
so his logic is, because in the past it went up this high, so in the future it's definitely going to go this high again.
Held a gun to my head and said, listen, the worst case scenario, where Treasury rate's going to go 10-year, I'd say in the next 7 years, you should be able to see 13.5%, 14%. Yes. Now, I'm not saying we get there, but I really want to stress you do not want to jump in front of this
13.5.
But if
that's ridiculous.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting if we end up getting there.
I think they declare bankruptcy at 10%.
It would end up.
The whole government.
I mean, that guy's little extreme fear right there. That's like basically saying you're all everyone's gonna be broke.
Well, shout out to Ricardo. Thank you for joining and becoming a member, Ricardo. Appreciate it.
What do you get when you're a YouTube member? I don't even know. What are we supposed to?
Your name just lights up when you type a comment. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we'll do something. But yeah, if anyone wants to join, we got the join button there now, so that's cool.
the problem with that assertion that we could get to 13-14%. If we go to 13-14%, you might as well just kiss the dollar goodbye. At that point, we're done. Like the US is done. Like we need to just hang it up. Unlike the 80s when we didn't have national debt that was running this high, we're in a much more different scenario. And the Fed right now, I'm sure, is getting every single pressure it can get to start cutting rates as fast as possible. Because if you think about it, they're the ones that are exacerbating the problem even more. So look at it from this perspective. They raise short-term interest rates. Now the funding costs for government go up, which means that there's higher deficits. Higher deficits means they have to borrow more. So now the federal government says, oh, you have to borrow more. Let me raise interest rates again. And it just keeps going more and more, right? The thing is, the government right now, and this is the part that sucks, and this is something that Milton Friedman actually mentioned, is government needs to actually scale back on spending right now. Government needs to cut back on spending because they were very generous with spending, and they also need to raise taxes. Unfortunately, neither one of the parties want to fucking do the right thing. The Republicans don't want to raise taxes, and Democrats don't want to fucking cut entitlements. Unfortunately, this is where we are. And unless there are some people willing to step up against their own party's interests and actually make the right call for the country, we're fucked.
All right. Well, first of all, it's not happening next year, this year, next year. No one's talking about this. It's not happening until at least the election's over. Then maybe something might happen. But we got a good year and a half of no activity on that front.
But the hard thing to believe is, like, as Kris is saying, the parties can't agree. The parties themselves internally can't agree, given what we're seeing now, where we don't have a Speaker of the House. And we have 48 hours until we have to have a new vote for the Speaker. And the question becomes...
Was that Matt Gaetz just looking to be nominated?
He hates McCarthy basically not sticking to his borders, like, agenda, and, like, kind of lying to the caucus. And so that's why he did it. But he got enough votes to do it.
McCarthy made the biggest mistake by giving these guys a loaded gun and then just waiting for them to fire it at him. So according to the negotiations that they had for him getting House speakership, was that any member of the caucus can call for a vote to basically oust him, right? That was the negotiation that they agreed upon, which was really dumb in my opinion, but whatever. They wanted to get the thing done because they got voted out 15 times. So you've got this small minority of ultra right-wing MAGA Republicans who are kind of like budget hawks and also like nationalist hawks that will basically are the radical side of the Republican Party. And then you've got the radical side of the Democrat Party. So you got two sides. The thing is, right now, we're in such a divided government that those corners, those fringes, have an outsized amount of power in order to control and dictate what ends up happening with policy. So right now, the Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, of course, as they're labeled creatively by the media, they're basically like saying, no, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And if you don't agree with us, fuck it, we'll just remove you out of power, or we'll just create it so that the government can't do any more damage, which is fine. That's the logic that they're applying. And it was the same thing. Unlike the progressives, Nancy Pelosi knows how to fucking hammer her nails down. Like the progressives actually tried to do some crazy shit too, I think last year or the year before, where they wanted certain agenda items like put on the table, and Nancy Pelosi said, "Get in line, or I'll fuck the shit up. I'll fuck you up." And basically, they got in line. Unfortunately, McCarthy didn't have that power, so McCarthy had to basically relent.
She does that because most of the money that comes in for their reelection comes in through her, and she gets to delegate that money. And so McCarthy is not the guy that's making all the deals and bringing in all the money. So she's got to say she's got like $100 million, and she's like, oh, really? You want to challenge me as speaker? Okay, then we're gonna primary you, or we're not gonna give you any money for reelection, and you'll lose your seat. So it's a mafia tactic. It's not. I wouldn't necessarily.
Real quick, shout out to Ray. Hold on, shout out to Ray for being a member. Appreciate that, and Sam Solid for being a member as well. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. Also, thank you for that $10 super chat. Sam Solid for the True OGs, bought more Amazon. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but you need to have mafia-like tactics. I mean, you remember seeing House of Cards? You got to be an asshole. That's how the House works. Unlike the Senate, where you have some time where you can be a little bit cooler, calmer, the House is just a clown show, dude. And you just gotta manage the clowns. You know, I think there's a saying like, "Not my clown, not my circus." You ever heard of that?
But I fundamentally disagree with that. I don't think that's if you just go back to like the founding fathers, I don't think that that's what it was meant to be. That it was meant to be a clown show that is basically leveraging people's jobs to have them vote the way that you want, or having some dirt on them that says, "Hey, if you don't do what I want," that's not what we want.
That's always been the case, Carlos. That's always been the case.
But again, having it always be the case doesn't mean that it should be that way.
Ideally, bringing up the founding fathers, they're also missing some amendments. Should we go remove some amendments as well? Like, I mean, no, different time.
Different time, yes, but the idea behind the House of Representatives is that the people that are in power are representative of the people. And if you just look at the breakdown of the House of Representatives, I think like 90-something% of them have degrees in law, and the rest of them have degrees in finance. Like, there's nobody there that's a scientist. There's nobody.
Whoa, hold on. No. You're saying the House of Representatives? The House of Representatives has a bunch of idiots there too now. Like, there's no longer.
But what I'm saying is, by and large, the government, the people that are representing us, are not actually representative of us. It's a different story. You know, and you would think, for example, if you had people,
we need garbage men on that damn panel.
No. I think that's actually I actually think there's more representation of people like us on there, but the real answer,
junkies? Absolutely.
No, not finance junkies, but I'm saying like the general populace. But I actually disagree with that. I think that's the stupid thing. Majority of people, in my opinion, are fucking dumb as a box of rocks. I just.
So you're saying because they're idiots, they're actually representative of us?
Yes, exactly. You don't want that. You want the smart people in charge. You don't want the general people in charge. Like if now, if we're on an island and we have to decide who's going to be our leader, you know, we don't want the guy that's like popular. We want the guy that can get shit done, right? Mm-hmm. That's the key. The House of Representatives is just popular opinion based on the localities that are out there. And basically, right now, it's actually because of the way that like that things have been structured. It's one of the most manipulative ways that what is it called when they actually like redraw redistricting lines, gerrymandering. It's even worse because now you got people in that Congress basically gerrymandered their way, and now it's no longer about is the person the right person for the job. It's literally just do they have a D on behind them or do they have an R behind their name, and that's it. Even Nancy Pelosi said there are certain districts in the country, like the one that AOC was in, and you could put a glass of water, and as long as it was a Democrat there, the glass of water would win.
I heard some video that was recorded, like someone recorded a phone call illegally, but the audio got out of a Democrat that was going for re-election and was literally like, why don't we, she's like, we need to run the other side. We need to just prop up a Republican candidate that we can, like, let's just pay somebody, or let's actually just run both sides of the campaign so we can ensure that we get elected. It's literally, the election is just it's a nuisance, I think, for some of these people. They just want to stay elected and continue to work their deals, and having to run and go through the process of elections is a nuisance.
Yeah, but some counties we know are red or blue. It's just the way it is. So that's going to be a hard thing to change if you're actually going to try to change that.
No, but I don't think you should change it. I just feel like it used to be, or the idea would be, that the people decide what they want in a specific area. These are the policies that we want. We want to find somebody that will represent that ideal, and in Congress speak that voice. It's not really working that way. It's more like a top-down thing. Like, these representatives are telling you what you need for your community, and you have to fall in line or not.
Bro, you guys saw the guy that I showed you from Georgia, right? The congressman from Georgia, the dude that thought the fucking island was going to tip over. He keeps getting reelected. Just imagine making a comment like that, and then the populace just says, you know what? Let's go back to Congress again after doing some dumb shit like that.
Well, there is something about the name, if you've heard the name before, your life has been the same, so you vote for the same person. I totally understand that.
So this
like here, let me ask you a question. So I get I vote by mail, but I literally have to sit down then and go through each person to figure out who these randos are, because this is a small town election, right? So do you guys sit down? Yeah, I try to research them, at least a couple of them, to try to pick reasonably, but it's hard because there's like 7-8 people, and then you got to go figure out if that's the right person that you want to represent. But honestly, you don't know. It's just a crapshoot. So my question to you is: Are you researching when you get that notice that these are the people that are running for election for whatever, like Board of Education, like is running around here? So Are you going through that list? Are you
Well,
trying
I
to figure
am.
out who's
I-
the
I-
right person?
To your
I
point,
always
those
do.
local
I always do.
elections affect you more.
Yeah.
So,
So,
the
I'm
local
asking if you
government
go through it,
actually
and
affects
AMIT there
you
it definitely doesn't because he's not even paying
Man,
attention. So
I'm texting my side chick, guys. I'm sorry. So please continue the conversation.
He's like, yo, I'm busy, man. But did you see Palantir today?
Did you see
How many
Palantir?
Palantir shares? He's like, how much?
I would bet
is
you
that
anything.
Palantir you're wearing? Are you happy?
No,
to
but I'm
see
listening to you guys. I didn't vote through. No, I did vote through mail, but we had to. I didn't mail the ballot in. I went to like a ballot drop-off box and I dropped it in. Like, did you actually send a stamp and mail? Yeah.
So
Okay,
same
yeah, I
thing.
get
But I mean, so a lot of people, even if you show up, like, and then they see all these names that they've never heard of, they pick their Democrat or Republican side. That's what they do, right? Nobody's trying to go through all these names.
No, I will type the person's name in and then just say like agenda. Just real quick, type the person's name in, hit agenda, and try to get like the landing page of their website. These are the things I believe in because I try to do it issue by issue. Because a lot of times
I'm going to say,
oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican.
I'm going to say
doesn't
something.
necessarily mean you got my interests in mind, you know.
I'm going to say something controversial, but I don't think everyone should be allowed to vote.
No
I just
boy.
think that there has to be some. No, there should be.
Oh,
that
boy.
got my attention. The side chicken.
No.
Wait for that one.
No, it's just. I think.
All right,
I think
let him
there should be.
explain. Let him
Can we start with
explain
people
the,
who-
Let me
who
do a
get out of-
timestamp 2555.
when
Chris.
Chris's YouTube
everybody.
career ended.
Chris, you know you're perfect for Florida.
No, I don't think everyone should be allowed to vote. I think to some degree you should at least, and I agree with Vivek on this one. I think there should be at least a basic civics test before you're allowed to vote. Like it's just how many. It's basic questions that you need to answer in order to at least be part of the greater part of the society, and that you actually give a shit and you actually care instead of just being a number. You know, so I don't know. I think right now there are a lot of ways that elections can be manipulated in a way where, like we just said, basically, as long as there's a D or the D or an R next to their name, people are going to vote for that candidate no matter what. I think at some level, we need to get intelligent people voting again so that this way the populace is actually informed people.
Yeah, but how do you define intelligence, bro? That's a really
what you're saying is
shady
very
line.
dangerous.
Is VITALY intelligent? Am I
No,
intelligent?
I'm saying, but it's incredibly dangerous to try to pick
No.
people, and you know that game that would be rigged. So
it's not about
that wouldn't work out the way you think.
No, but it's not about intelligence. It's like you can't vote on something. Like you can't vote on something that you're not somewhat educated on, right? Like they wouldn't put you on the board of directors of a company that
no. Carlos. The fucking founding fathers of the United States believe that every single person has the right to be represented, no matter who the fuck they are. Doesn't matter if you're a hillbilly,
at the time,
from Kansas that's not as intellectual, or it doesn't matter if you're a PhD. Your vote is the same. That is what the foundation of this country is built on.
At the time that the country was founded, we were actively, most of the people were more engaged in politics.
It does not matter. It does not matter. That is a principle that cannot change for the rest of time, or else we will not be a democracy. If you start treating some people as having a better, credible form of voting, then it's not a democracy.
And they did it. People fought for it. If we remember, African Americans couldn't vote. Okay, and also women couldn't vote. So what you guys are saying is, I know this.
Yeah, but those are
people in the comments who think they're agreeing with this. But no, you cannot pick and choose who can vote.
Think about it like this.
You cannot
think about it like this. In order for you to become a citizen, you have to pass a basic civics test. You have to understand the branches of government. You have to understand how this country works. And
you actually have to know who the people are.
We ask more of immigrants coming to this country that want to be citizens than we do of our own citizens to participate in arguably the single most important part of being a citizen of this country.
Yeah.
But the thing is, bro, it'll be manipulated. Like in theory,
you think it's not manipulated now, bro?
Yeah.
You think with all these mail-in ballots, it's not manipulated?
Sure, that's a totally.
Have you not seen all the videos? Have you not seen all the videos?
Yeah, but
I'm not even trying to get into that.
All you're doing is adding another layer of manipulation. That's all you're doing. You're not actually
solving anything. Hey, if you don't know the judicial, legislative, and executive branch, or whatever stupid test you want to come up with, it can get really scary, bro.
Yeah, but are you afraid? Yeah, but
what if there's a PhD in computer science, smart ass AI engineer from Meta who just doesn't give a fuck about the government, doesn't know there's 3 executive branches?
Then he shouldn't be allowed to make a decision.
That's bullshit.
Then he shouldn't be allowed to make a decision.
You're talking about
ridiculous what you're saying.
And they probably don't even vote anyway. If they don't give a shit, to know that there's actually 3 branches of government, they probably don't even vote anyway. Why would
So
you want
hold on? You think
Yeah.
his opinion, a PhD in computer science, building the next generation of LLMs, doesn't get to have a say in the country?
You're
doesn't know one little fact.
You're
about the government?
literally making up a story. This invisible
No,
PhD.
these are the types of
No,
people.
No,
that,
no,
like,
no. But
I could give you a different story of someone who
but
you are
if
doing
they
it.
cared,
You are making up an extreme.
It's not
invisible.
Guys, we're not going to change this. This is the way it is.
Yeah. But if the answer that I would give you is if they don't give a shit to the degree that it takes 10 minutes to go just read on some basic civic stuff, if they can't even agree on that part, like, hey, I don't want to do a little bit of homework on that and actually know what my country stands for, know my country's values, and then live up to those countries' values.
I agree with that. I agree. That's a horrible thing. I just don't think that should be set in stone. That boom, you're not part of the democracy.
Have you ever heard of no taxation without representation? Have you ever heard of that little saying? So if they're going to be charging these people who you call idiots money, taxes, then they get a right to vote. That's just
There's
the
a bunch
bottom
of
line.
people that would give up their right to vote if they had no taxes.
Well, I would be one of them, maybe.
Well, look, on that note, I didn't even think we are going to get political, but this is the last thing that I watched.
It's a good discussion. It's a good healthy debate. It's not.
This is the last thing that I watched.
Yeah, of course, it's a good point. These people are talking nonsense. Imagine the president of the United States. Imagine the president of the United States comes up and says, "You know what? We don't want all the idiots under 95 IQ to vote." Imagine
and guess what happens? Guess what happens? Every other democracy model.
Okay, you're just okay. Now you're just yelling and yelling and yelling. Listen, now you're just yelling and yelling.
I'm just pointing out that
he's not yelling. Vitaly,
I wasn't yelling.
Still yelling.
All right, guys.
You're not listening to the underlying point. It's about being educated on something that you are meant to vote on. That's all it's about. You're saying it's a bunch of idiots. No one's saying that idiots can't vote because there are people that
hold on. Is that people going just to regular school?
Okay, no. Let's break this down. Carlos,
then you guys talk.
No. I'm pointing the question back to you, Carlos. What is a
basic
basic threshold for someone that in your world deserves to vote?
A basic civics test that we expect immigrants to pass before they can be citizens in this country is a good place to start. Yep. How many of these YouTube videos, man on the street, do you see where they go, name me, what's the capital of the United States? And they're like, Germany? You know, how many people, and they do this to people in colleges. How many people do you see these guys interviewing people in colleges? Just look them up, these man on the street interviews where they talk to people in colleges and ask them, how many branches of government are there? They have no idea.
Okay, can I give you a counter example to this?
Go ahead.
Let's say someone grew up in the hood, bad area, surrounded by drugs and poverty their whole life, right? Mm-hmm. This is the person, single mom, father's not home, yada, yada, yada. They are super smart, super ambitious, all this stuff. U.S. history, they didn't have AP history in their high school. The school system failed them.
Knowing what your capital of your state is not AP history,
this is the point.
No, but that right there, that is not the right mindset, because that person might end up going to that test and just might not know some of the answers. They might get a 70% instead of a 95 or
as long as you pass the test.
No, but the point is the most disadvantaged populations in the United States would probably fail.
You act like this information is
just another way to, it's just another way to take away the black vote. That's what this is.
That's basically what it would help.
It's not. What you're doing is you're doing. God, I can't believe you're doing this. You're like making it like, no, you're racist. You're bigoted. You're not listening.
I'm not saying you're racist. I'm saying
hold on. Let me agree at least a little bit with Carlos.
You should understand some basics about this country.
Look, I agree with you, but then that's what we have junior high school for.
Understand what that representative is trying to represent you. You have to understand the branch of government that person is representing. You should understand what that person's power is, what their limitations
Amit, bring up a test right now. We're going to quiz Carlos. Bring it up. We're going to start. We're going to Carlos knows about
fail that motherfucker.
Let's see. Go ahead. Bring up. I'll fucking answer all of the questions.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Before you go,
Carlos, do not be bringing up the U.S. Constitution right now.
Listen. I wanted to share this because this was the last thing that I watched before.
Okay, here, Carlos. What is
the law
of the land?
Stop.
Go ahead. Ask him 10
That's the first question on the integration test.
The U.S. Constitution, bitches.
Okay, Chris will definitely be voting.
Okay.
Chris will be voting.
No, go ahead. Bring it up. Ask some questions.
I want to see what
you bro, we're not playing a 14-minute video, bro. We can't.
It's not 14-minute. There was a couple. So this is like this was a big controversial. 8 policies.
Name 3 countries.
Carlos, I saw this video, bro. I'm telling you, people leave when we play a video.
All right. Okay, it's the VITALY and AMIT show. Go ahead, guys.
It's not the VITALY and AMIT show. I study the analytics, and when you play a video for 5 minutes, people leave because they don't care. They're here for us. They want to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, I agree.
Carlos, what do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
Okay, I'm not playing this game.
The Bill of Rights.
Yo,
Go ahead, you
Chris
can
is
ask
going to
me.
be the only
All
one
right,
who
Chris,
votes.
you're getting in the
See, this is
country.
my point, Carlos. If you don't know the answer to that
That's
question,
right.
Of course, I know the answer to that, but I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game.
it's not a game. You're the one who said we do a civics
Yeah.
test. We're asking you a
All
basics
right, yeah.
question.
All right, so
I didn't even know that.
My point is, all of us can fail this test on some level. All of us, okay?
Okay, here's
Even-
the most simplest one. If none of us answer this, none of us vote. Chris, don't say anything. How many amendments does the U.S. Constitution have?
there's 27 amendments.
Okay, good. So you got that one right.
Okay, and after
Vitaly,
27,
did you know that?
and
'Cause I
there
didn't know
won't
that.
be any more amendments because now you need 2/3. Now you need a 2/3 majority, and you won't get that.
Okay.
The Sixth Amendment. What was the
Everyone
Sixth
copy
Amendment?
off of
Anybody
Chris's
know what the Sixth
paper.
Amendment is?
That's my point. You got number
What
8
I'm saying
right.
is,
You didn't
here's
get
my
number
point. Here's
7.
my point. Here's my point. Okay, and I'm just gonna say whether you talk over me or not. You should understand if it's that important to you. If you're so, if you believe that it's so important, this God-given right to vote, you should understand something about what you're voting on. It's not just, it's like the right to drive. You have the right to drive, but you have to pass a test. Okay. You have the right to drink, but you're expected to be responsible. That's what it is. It's about having people be invested in the actual country. That's what it's about.
Well,
And you're trying to make it, you're trying to do what is done now whenever there's a debate in the public discourse that it's about me or Chris being bigoted or racist or trying to keep somebody out. Even if you're joking, that's not the way
I didn't
to
say
debate.
that. I didn't say that.
That's
I just
not
want
the
to
way
point out,
That's
debate.
not my point at all.
we
Not the
take
way to
American
debate.
history in school. We learn about a lot of this stuff. We already
This
take
is about me
American
because I
history.
know I would
This
fail the
is
test.
not-
It's
We
more about
already
me, my
did this
guy.
course, and now
guys,
to make those people take it
guys,
again. I don't know.
Guys, this is not American history. This is America's present. How does America function? What is your district? What is the hierarchy of it, right? What is the hierarchy of how things move up to get into the Supreme Court? How do the laws of the land work? This is what you should understand, because you're voting for people that are working within a certain system. You should understand how the system works, because when you don't understand the system, you end up doing what you're saying, Vitaly. People go in the booth and just vote Democrat or vote Republican down the line because they don't understand how the government works. And actually, that's one of the reasons that brought, to use Jeremy's term, T-Man. That's one of the reasons T-Man got elected, is because he made politics simple for people that for a long time felt like it was just not understandable. And it was purposefully convoluted in the same way that the stock market is purposefully made to seem so difficult and so complicated that you just never participate. When if you really drill down, it's actually really simple if you explain it to people. And the same reasons why you keep people dumb with money are the same reasons why you keep them dumb with politics.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I'm
Carlos,
saying.
would you want?
I think we'd have
people
greater
to-
participation.
Would you want people to take a test to buy security in the United States?
No, I'm not saying you have to take a test
Because
to
that
buy
sounds ridiculous, right? Why would you have
Start
to
a
take a
business?
test to buy a
What
stock?
you're doing is
Or
you're-
start a
that's-
business. How about that?
That
Or
is
start a business or start an LLC.
Okay, that is a logical fallacy called false equivalent. I am not making the equivalent on that.
Why?
I'm saying, because I'm not saying that that's your money. You already have your money. You can spend your money on whatever you want, right? You don't have to buy. You don't have to buy money. You don't have to buy stocks. You don't have to buy bonds. You don't have to buy crypto. You don't have to invest your money. That's not what I'm saying.
I guess you don't have to vote.
No, you don't have to vote. But what we're saying is that we're saying that it's a right. And all I'm saying is that in order to fully participate, like doesn't it bother you on some
No,
level?
I
that you can
disagree.
be incredibly.
Because
you
if
can
you
be
start a company, you're affecting
in your
the
own
public.
state, you can be incredibly invested in, say, in the issues at hand. And somebody with no knowledge of anything can just come in and basically negate your vote by voting the other way. So what you end up having is all these people basically negating each other's votes until, a small majority.
I don't like
is what
political
makes
junkies at all, honestly.
No, I agree with Carlos. That sucks when you are educated and then you have a bunch of idiots voting for something because they're not educated. But that is the conundrum of democracy the founding fathers warned about, and that's what we as a nation have to deal with. For example, if I start an LLC in New Jersey, that LLC is affecting the public. So theoretically, you're saying businesses are private. No. That's a company that's going to have public impact. Shouldn't I know a little bit about how to pay taxes? Shouldn't I have to stand a test about what does LLC stand for before you open an LLC? Like, that's reasonable, right? So it's like, but at the end of the day, it's not reasonable because we believe in individual.
These are bad arguments.
Well,
You're getting so far off the point.
First of all, Amit, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
We're the best democracy we have.
We're not a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And if you go back even to like the Greek times, that basically a lot of our stuff was founded on, even they will come out. Like Socrates, I think, said at one time, democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb, and they're voting on who gets to eat the lamb. That's pretty much what democracy ends up becoming, So I would just say, there has to be some safeguards in it, especially in this day and age where media manipulation can really, really hamper a lot of things. And basically right now, you look at the country, it's so far divided because every side is just pulling on the heartstrings or pulling on the sensibilities of one group.
No, but Chris,
single voters is how they do it.
That argument is so bad because you're saying the heartstrings of the American public are being tilted left or right because of the media. We can't stop the media. We're fucking media. Right now, we have 354 people here. We control 354 people's potential thoughts and analysis.
But we're not being paid for it.
So you have
I'm not saying censor it, but I'm not saying censor it. I'm not saying censor it. All I'm saying is people right now are more susceptible to manipulation than ever before in the history. So what are the safeguards against it?
But if you think a government should decide a test that determines the safeguards of quote unquote manipulation, I don't trust that. Bro.
Do you understand? Okay, you're making it seem like it's this evil thing. This is what we expect of immigrants coming into the country. If you're going to come in here and participate in our country, you have to understand how our government works. You have to understand why we're taking your taxes, right? The same thing. You have to understand why, and you have to understand that you will get the right to vote and participate in this. I just don't understand why you are pushing back against this idea that everybody should understand. Like if you're expecting people at 18 years old to go to war and fight for this country, they should understand how the country works. You should understand how the country works that you're protecting.
I mean, I feel like I would fail the test. That's why I don't want to.
I don't think you'd fail the test. If
there is a solution. There is a solution, by the way.
Study it. Here's the thing: is you could study it. This is not like deep level shit. It's not about understanding the entire history of America.
Carlos, you've had your moment in the sun. Okay. So there is a solution, by the way, and the solution is not to make people. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's not hard. The solution is not to make sure there's a test pass because that can be manipulated and controlled by a group. The Democrats, the Republicans, whoever's in charge can control that. So that is not a good solution. But there is a solution, just as simple, using the technology we have that, hey, before you go to the actual thing, log on to our website, go through the candidates. So we know, or go through the America and how America works. If you want to do that, we want to see you spend half an hour before you show up at the poll, because we want to know that you're actually informed about the subject. And that could be simple without actually making anybody take any test. And yes, the computer can be open, but you can't make people just learn and then give them a test. Once again, that could be manipulated. So
I could get behind that.
I think that's a simple solution that most people will actually end up doing some research as opposed to not doing any research.
Silly. The single mom's going to say, I don't have time because I have barely any time in my day to go vote. That's why I vote from home. I'm taking care of 2 kids or 3 kids.
There's always going to be somebody who gets around the rules, by the way. That's always going to happen. But we can't limit people's right to actually vote. That's ridiculous.
Well, I do know we aren't manipulating the audience.
I'm glad I'm fighting for the American rights of people to vote.
Whatever Sam says, I agree with. Whatever Sam says, I agree with.
Sam, I think we're controlling you, so you got to send some more, bro.
Whatever you say, bro.
Yeah, exactly, Sam.
Sam is right. He pays.
What topic do you want to talk about next?
$9.99 in, and I'll change my opinion real fast.
Yeah, I wonder how much money would it take for someone to buy your vote? If they would say, Vitaly, I'll give you 20,000 to vote for Trump. Would you do it?
20 grand? Yeah, maybe.
I think he'd vote for Trump
without 20 grand. I might fucking vote for whoever you want me to vote for, bro. 20
I think
grand?
he'd vote for Trump without 20 grand.
Yeah, I think Trump's gonna save us.
You goddamn sellouts, all of you sellouts, man.
Bro, he came up like, I'll give you 20 grand to vote for the debate.
Did you hear that?
That's because you live in a republic and I live in capitalism.
Did you hear that the Sam FTX guy offered Trump $5 billion not to run?
Yeah, and I played a 1-minute clip from CBS on my live stream today, and they demonetized the whole fucking thing. That one clip. Yep.
$5 billion not to run, and he was like, nah.
The 60-minute documentary on him is pretty interesting.
They offered, they quietly sidelined, offered. They asked Trump's team, is there an amount of money that we can pay him to not run? And they were like, no. And then quietly, the number that got thrown around, the napkin, was $5 billion. And I think
who was going to pay?
He would have taken that.
Who was going to pay?
Sam was going to pay $5 billion to Trump because he hates Trump. He thought he was a threat to democracy.
Don't run.
And he wanted him not to run.
Shit.
That's how crazy shit's gone. Where you're not even paying people to run. You're not saying I'm going to fund your campaign. You're like, yo, just get your name off the ballot.
Okay, what else can we talk about in stocks? This is a good discussion, though. I think people are going to enjoy it.
I think the reason why this is a good discussion is because we have to remember that politics and finances go hand in hand, right? A lot of what we're saying right now impact stocks. So I know a lot of times it's like, why aren't you guys just talking about stocks all the time? Just talk about stocks. It's like, yeah, but if you don't talk about the political end and how the ramifications of that could end up processing into those financial decisions, they could be really, really bad things that can happen. Like one of the theses that I have with like regional banks right now is around all the political stuff that's going around with regulations. So right now, there's a huge movement to regulate some of the regional banks into requiring them to have a lot higher capital requirements. The thing is, though, most of the regional banks are actually some of the biggest donors to a lot of these House of Representatives and senators. So a lot of the Senate, like the Senate Banking Committee, I was listening to them for like 2 hours the other day, and I was just like, wow, these guys are going at the regulators hard. Like they were just like, you regulators are causing like people to lose jobs. Like you don't care about small businesses and blah, blah. But inside, I'm like, bro, that senator is bought and paid for by the regional banks lobbyists, you know? So that's why you have to pay attention to the politics, because if you tune into the politics, you'll understand what's going on in the industry. Look at what's going on with anti-monopoly laws with the FTC. The Democrats are in charge. They're more along the lines of monopoly breaking than the previous administration, which means now Google and Amazon are facing litigation, right? So if you elect someone who's anti-monopoly and you're a shareholder of Google, you're on the opposite ends on how you're voting. But people don't even
Chris,
recognize that.
We got a fan backstage, and after him, we'll do ENVX because that's a big one we didn't get to talk about today. Sam, the dude that just gave us $20, what's up,
Sam?
What's up, man?
Or you're muted.
You're muted.
Are you driving an Uber to make that money that you're donating to us right now?
You're muted still.
You're muted still, Sam.
It should be on the bottom left. Just
can you switch Chris? Can you switch Chris and Sam?
Okay, how about now?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. First of all, where are you calling from, and how long have you been watching the show?
Los Angeles. I've been watching for 2 months. Not long.
Oh, perfect. And how'd you discover it? Was it like Jeremy or something? Did it just pop up on the YouTube?
It was like on Twitter.
It was on Twitter. Okay, perfect.
Nice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up?
It's switching.
Okay, there you go. You're good. You're good now. We can hear you.
I think your phone is switching.
No, it's his Bluetooth, bro. You probably turn on the car and the Bluetooth thing is.
All right, how about now?
Perfect.
All right, sorry about that. So I want to ask a question, and I mean the only reason why I'm donating so much money is because I started buying puts when AMIT, you were like so excited about Palantir being at 1688. I told Chris this earlier today. I was just like, all right, it's time to buy puts in Palantir, but I'm long Palantir. Don't worry.
Oh my
Cheers,
God.
man. Cheers.
Hold on. By the way, when it was
Perfect
running
time.
to 1688 on my live stream, I definitely said this shit's not lasting. I just want to
Yeah,
make that clear.
I know. But it was like, now's the time to buy puts.
I
But
thought it was
anyway,
up today.
That's
Was
fair.
it not
That's
up
fair.
today?
it's up
It went up
after
a little
hours
bit,
because
but-
supposedly with some NHS deal.
And Kramer now
so-
says it's a buy, so
Yeah.
run out of
Oh,
it.
God.
We're fucked.
You got to
We're
get out
fucked
of
now.
there.
Yeah.
Wait, but
but-
are you long Palantir or no?
I'm short puts right now.
Okay, got it.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
Kramer said at 300, Enphase was a buy.
Yeah. Actually, I'm DCAing it to end phase right now. I'm not going all in or anything, but
Smart.
it's good buy. But I wanted to ask, I mean, we all know where the political stuff is going. I'm not really too into this bullshit, but do you guys think that news follows price in terms of the market? Like all this media stuff we're hearing right now, it just follows the price of the stock market. Is that what you guys truly believe in? I feel like that's what Carlos believes in, right? Like they can come up with whatever story they want to as far as the media goes, but if the stock market heads in a certain direction, you're going to hear the news reel following that price.
I think that was a comment that I made about some certain analysts, that they don't really have price targets. They have more price forecasts. So they're more like the 5-day weatherman than they are a climatologist that's looking out as to what a company should be fairly valued at. The idea of a price target is where it should be fairly valued within 12 to 18 months. And a lot of people will just adjust their price targets based on the momentum of where a stock is. But you do see that even with the media then picking up on what the analysts are saying and pushing that as news. Although I wouldn't say that particular thing. I wouldn't say that the media just is there to justify where the stocks are going, although a lot of their news is based on analysts that I think are doing that, if that makes sense.
I think they're just conduits for exit liquidity. A lot of them come online and say, "Oh my God, this."
What do you mean exit liquidity?
basically the retail investors and people are just exit liquidity. So as they're unloading their positions, they need an active market to buy. So guys like Kramer, he's come out and said it like, oh, not everything I say is real. Like you said right there, Vitaly, which is Kramer was saying buy ENVX at $300 when it was clearly overvalued. Well, there were actually people out there forming a market and buying ENVX. So people who were selling ENVX, they need an active market in order to sell their product.
You need a buyer and seller. I was educating you guys about this yesterday. I was telling you guys you need to sell to buy. That's the only way this works.
And so a lot of times, I think that's what happens where these guys say, oh my God, the market is falling apart. And I'm sure that there's people right now on the sidelines buying shit up on the cheap. So you got Rick Santelli scaring the shit out of everyone. Oh my God, the 10 years just climbing. Everyone needs to sell equities and go into bonds. And, these motherfuckers in the background are probably doing the exact opposite where they're buying up shit super cheap. So, I think a lot of even CNBC is.
Why do you think retail can't do what you're saying these big guys are doing right now, which is buy it when it's cheap? Why do you think retail can't do that?
Well, because they're not very well positioned in the market to do it. Like right now, when it comes to these big guys, these big hedge funds and everything else, they're a lot less emotion driven than they are just driven by cold hard facts on how to manipulate the market in a certain way. So I think right now retail is a lot easier to manipulate in terms of like media. So right now, if you come out and say like this company is bad, like its earnings are horrible. I mean, if you think about it, companies like Meta should never have gone down to $70, $80. But if you looked at what it was when it was around $90, there were still people on CNBC saying, well, Meta's a terrible investment. TikTok is just coming for their lunch. Not one person came on at the time and said, oh, everyone needs to be buying Meta. I mean, some people did. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. There were actually a few value investors that did put some good ideas out there. But for the most part, dude, I look at CNBC and I'm just like, okay, whatever. That's an opinion that some guy has, and that's it. It's all about entertainment. There's really no education that you're going to get from CNBC.
So I agree with a lot of these points, but the way I see it is that the price starts to move in a certain direction, and then the narrative starts to come in around that price. And that's what fuels, obviously, us, the network, CNBC, etc. And then that narrative gets its own legs, because the only time anything fundamentally changes about a business that we get to know about is every 3 months. So in between those 3 months, every quarter, there's a lot of narratives just floating around, and whoever wins that narrative gets to tank the whole thing. I'll give you a perfect example. The narrative right now is ENVX is being murdered by rates. And we are all agreeing on this. It is very possible that is happening because they've admitted that in Q2. But what happens in Q3 if they say, you know what, it's not hurting us as much and we're going to double our revenues next year? They have changed the narrative. And I bet you anything it would shoot to the moon again. But if that doesn't happen, because we only have those 3-month windows to see where the actual truth lies, that will determine what happens. But in between those moments, it's all just a story being told that drives the market. So it's whatever narrative you choose to believe, obviously.
That was actually the reasoning behind why, I don't know if you watched our last podcast with Jeremy, why I asked him, what is the metric that you look at? Because, to Vitaly's point, the company can try to change the narrative on the earnings call, and then the media can come back and say, well, that's lying. And you see that happening with Tesla. But Elon said this was going to happen in this year, and it didn't happen. So they try to call out the companies. So you go, well, then, okay. Well, then what is the real metric that we as retail investors should be using to really understand the health of the company, the trajectory of the stock, and what the institutions are going to do? Because nobody's getting rich off of the retail piling into a stock or a crypto. It's always the institution. So what you want to do is get ahead of those guys so that when they finally come to their senses and they finally either recognize the blood in the water or recognize the opportunity on the table, you're already holding your position, and then you take their money. That's the only way we're going to retire. It's just
hard to do it when it's red. I think that's the hardest thing.
It's freaking really hard because they're also they're also using that money to lobby for the prices that they want. So it's a really tricky thing, but you're battling those guys. You're battling the same guys that to a certain extent we're listening to.
So the way you make the most amount of money in the market is by not following basically the mainstream media's narrative. That is the only way. You have to have some sort of alternate opinion on what you believe. Otherwise, you will never outperform.
And notice CNBC
afraid of consensus.
Yeah, CNBC puts out a bullish and bearish video almost every 20 minutes. Like they're putting out a ton of shit, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't care. They just want you to watch because they make money off advertising. So
No, but they see what works. Fear
Yeah.
is what drives their whole network. Obviously,
But it's
you know?
also it's like networks, dude. Like, you know, you could say that Fox News is a right-leaning network and CNBC is a left-leaning network. In the finance market, there really is no left and right, but there's a bear and a bull. And so they want to put out content that will help the bears feel good about their positions and the bulls feel good about theirs, right? That's why you get guys like Gordon Johnson that continue to get airtime even though they're idiots, or a guy like Tom Lee who's just eternally bullish. You just want to be able to serve up the content that each of those people want to see to justify their own decisions, and then let the markets play out and then say that you were right. You know?
yeah.
Cool.
right.
One more question. Are you guys ready to get your money stolen by Jeremy when you play poker with him the first night you're in Vegas? Because that guy is inviting you guys to his house
to the lines
with
then.
your money the first night you're in Vegas.
He's gonna
You gotta be
hustle us.
careful. That's predatory, dude. That's predatory.
No, it totally is.
So Kelly agreed to give me like $3,000, so I'm gonna use her money. And if I win, then I win. If not, then
if not,
Dude,
then
you
you're
gotta
gonna be dancing for a couple of Justin Bieber songs to pay off that.
Kelly was like, "It's your birthday. You're good. I got you." I was like, "All right, if you got me, then I'm gonna go blow this shit."
I was
up."
actually talking to my wife about that. I was showing her where she saw the video, and I was telling her, like, yeah, that guy invited us to his house on the first night. He was specifically wanted us the first night. She's like,
He's gonna take your money.
Bro, his house is amazing. If we actually get to do this, I can't wait for you guys to see it. His house is beautiful. It's just incredible.
I'm sure. I'd love to check it
Yeah.
out. It would be really inspirational. I was telling her about his story. And
Classic
like
American
after
dream.
talking like a half an hour, like I talk about like stocks and investing in crypto, kind of like the way you would say chew your girlfriend's ear off about Palantir. But after about a half an hour, I'm sitting there like just in the bed looking at over some videos, showing us some stuff. She's like, fuck, man, I gotta quit my job. Like, this is so stupid what I'm doing. Like, she just woke up to like that's not how you make money. Why am I, you know?
Yeah. All right,
You
Sam.
guys are great.
You, man.
Just want to tell you guys are great. I mean, keep releasing this stuff, man. Seriously, Palantir to the moon, SoFi to the moon. Bought a shitload of SoFi today. And
What do you do?
It,
Do you mind disclosing what do you do for a living? Are you like in the corporate world or?
Yeah, I'm a DevOps engineer. I work in IT. Yeah.
Amazing.
You're not allowed to vote next election.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, you're not allowed to vote.
Do you agree with me?
Pull up the questions.
Yeah,
Everyone on this pod gets questions.
I haven't voted since Obama time. I don't really care anymore.
I'm just kidding. You should go vote.
But why don't you vote? Is it a conscious decision, or is it just like it falls off your radar? Why? Because that's a decision
I
too.
don't know. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I mean, what do you think the lobbyists paid millions and millions of dollars for? Why does my one vote matter? You know, so that's the only reason why. I mean, I know that there's a lot of argument to which I came up with that decision to do that, but like at the end of the day, we all know like what gets these parties up there. We all know where everything sways toward. That's just how I see it.
Well, also like in California, your one vote's not going to ever turn it red.
Well,
it's not going to matter.
I think they want your apathy. By the way, their media is working on you because they want your apathy. They don't want you to go there and vote. They don't want that. They only need a certain number of people.
Yeah.
So you can do something against them by actually voting, in my opinion.
That's true.
Would you agree? Just a gut feeling. Should people have to take a test to vote or no? What would you say?
No. How would I?
See, it seems obvious, right? It seems obvious.
Like, everyone should be able to vote. If they want to vote, they should vote. You should never take out that right from people.
I agree. So it's gonna be a hard thing getting that through the Congress, bro. It's gonna be hard to force people to test. Yeah. I agree.
And everyone should have a right to buy Palantir puts when it's reaching 1688. Everyone should.
Dude, we're getting this NHS contract. let me highlight this thing right here. Peter, shout out to the $5. I added more Palantir. Anyone else add? I agree with Carlos. We're in a holding pattern waiting for news. I don't know if the NHS contract moves the stock, but it does seem Bloomberg is reporting we're getting it. So it'll be good news for us long term.
Don't worry, I'm out of the puts now. So, I'm good.
You made your money. That's fine.
I made my money and gave it back to you guys. I wish I could give back more, but
No, man, we appreciate you. We
appreciate
every
we really
appreciate I appreciate you guys on behalf of everyone. Hey, shout out to Garcia and TJ.
I love that like people in the chat are like characters. Like that's how you know we're building a real community.
Garcia's pretty active, man. Garcia's
on a TV show.
Like I'll be arguing with someone on X, and he'll come in and jump into to the rescue.
Garcia's like our
White Knight.
Our White Knight, exactly. Our White Knight.
Yeah.
That's the guy. He'll be in Vegas. We'll be partying.
Oh,
Is that a real picture of Garcia? He's in a
That
suit
is.
and tie.
All right, Sam. Thank you. We'll see you.
Thank you.
So, all right, real quick, we're gonna talk about ENVX, right?
Yeah, ENVX, what happened? I got DMs today saying what's going on with ENVX. I was
Me
like, bro,
too.
I don't
Me
know.
too.
They were like,
People like, I'm
Carlos
scared.
and VITALY talk about it. I'm like, all right, I'll bring it up on the podcast.
This is the path of these companies. I mean, if you look, and I was talking about this with Sonny about Enphase. This is like what it's going through. It kind of keeps going up and down as people lose faith. They need to prove themselves. The stock is incredibly volatile. If you didn't take profits at 23, would you consider selling?
Oh, by the way, you guys, let me give you a shout out to all three of you. You called that like on T to take profits at 23. All three of you were like, fuck this, we're taking profits. Down 12% today.
And we go back around again. Yeah,
I'll share this. So yeah, I think I texted Kris. Kris said, let me know when you're selling out. I'm like, okay, Kris, I'm selling out. So
and I sold out. I was like, fuck
wait,
this.
today you sold out everything today?
No. Back when it was in the 20s,
yeah.
Kris mentioned to text him when I was actually doing it, and I did. I was like, okay, I think today's the day to take some money out of the stock. And there's a reason too, because if you look at the chart, and I'm tracking the two, that's Enphase, of course. Let me go to ENVX. So ENVX is a massive just downward trend, and it seems like, because look, there's nothing that fundamentally will change in this company for a while, because they still have to ramp. It's going to take time. They have to make these little batteries.
You're frozen, VITALY.
I thought that was my bad Wi-Fi. It's fucking
No, VITALY, you're frozen.
It's fine. I think his computer crashed. It's time to replace it. I think it might be time to replace the
Get that
computer.
M2.
okay.
Here,
Carlos, can you analyze the chart that we're looking at?
share this real quick. Share this.
Okay, here we go.
This is what I was looking at. So this was a while ago. I drew these lines a while ago. So you're looking, it has been in an overall downward trend. And there was this moment of inflection here. If you can see around here, we saw this like in basically like an ascending wedge, and it broke out. But when it broke out, it broke the overall downward trend line. But there it goes back again, back down to the trend line. What keeps me going and keeps me wanting to DCA in it is if you just look, there's this like support band in here between like $7 and $10, and we're right now touching the top of where this like support channel. There's a lot of support here. Like it doesn't go much lower than this, and so I think that this is just the natural floating in and out of the stock until we get news that can justify higher valuation, right? Until we can justify what the next leg up is. I still believe in the company. As you see, there was a lot of insider buying, and so they obviously have more information than we have on what the company's doing. And I think we just need a good catalyst for the next leg up. This is not a company that's affected by things like rates, whatnot. They just need to perform. They are ramping up their factories. And overall, I'm still bullish on the company long term. And this to me is just an opportunity to keep adding to my position. You know, I was really inspired by Sonny's story and how he was able to find the conviction. And a lot of what we're seeing in Enphase is very similar to what we saw. What we're seeing in ENVX is a lot of what we saw in Enphase, and I see how that worked out for him. And he has also a tremendous amount of conviction in Enphase. And obviously, you do your own research on top of that, but it's not a bad thing when a guy like him, who's been incredibly successful in another TJ Rogers company, is saying, "Hey guys, I'm loading the boat at these levels."
Vitaly, you can pull it up again, but they had layoffs, right? That's the main reason for the
they fired some guy off the board. I forgot what it was. They moved some guy.
No, they actually are getting rid of their California engineers. So the people who are making the batteries over there, they're not going to be making batteries in their, I forgot where the plant was in California. They're not going to be doing that. You're still talking about ENVX, right?
Yeah. And there was some guy that left. There was some guy who left the board too. I posted
they're getting rid of some folks because they don't need them. They're going to be producing their batteries in Malaysia. But the chart is important to look at, and it's clear what the way ENVX is trading. That's why we sort of sold as well, or at least I started to sell, that it seems like it's topped. There's no real fundamental news happening. And if you look at it, there won't be until next year, maybe 2 years. Like this is going to take a long time to play out. So this is important to look at, that if we do hold resistance at around 8, or even like right now, I think we're going to $8, by the way, 8.70. And it seems like real support is at 7.30. But we're going to be playing the sideways game. But in the meantime, if it's at 7.30, you bet your ass on buying, because I think we will be touching this again at 15.
Vitaly, what's the institutional ownership on ENVX?
We can take a look. Someone bring that up. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's 30% shorted, by the way.
The retail community loves this stock.
I was showing this while you were restarting the computer, that there is a lot of support in this stock between the $7 and $10. And right now we have
7.8. I would say 7.8.
Down.
Yeah.
733. So we've wicked down, and now we're inside of where this sort of accumulation channel is in terms of stock price. So for me, if it stays in this channel for 4 or 5 months, I will definitely have the position that I want, and in which case I can just hold.
I think your trend is a little bit wrong. Bring up my chart again, and I corrected it today as well because
which one, the overall trend? Or
yeah, the trend is actually you have to move your line out even further, which actually is very interesting. If you look at the chart,
these are daily candles. You're on the monthly.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that you should do like more of the toppy part of it. But in either case, what's interesting, if you look out to 2025, right, heading into 2026, I'm assuming actually the breakout will happen closer in this 2025 zone because this is going to trade sideways, meaning it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to up, go up, down. And at some point, either they're bankrupt or fundamental news has happened and they're selling batteries to Samsung and Meta and all these other things people are talking about. And that's when we break out. But this is a long-term story. So we still have years for this to play out, in my opinion.
Still really early. It's still really, really early.
Yeah,
and
super early.
There will be a lot of hesitation, especially as the stock rises. You're going to see a lot of profit taking. The longer that it stays sideways, the more profit taking you're going to see at certain levels once it goes up. Like back at $23, you're going to see a bunch of sell-offs. It's going to really need a lot of upward momentum.
I don't think it's going back to 23, in my opinion.
23.
I think it's going from 7 to 15 and back down. But we still get to trade that if we want to. So I am going to be buying at 7, 8, and I bought a little bit today, but I'll buy heavier at 7, 8, ride it to 15, and sell 2/3 of my position again.
I'm just going to continue to accumulate. I've been playing the call options for that, which I probably should have sold some of those call options.
Always sell the calls. That's what we've learned.
On the next run, on the next run up, they're still okay, but on the next run up, I'll probably just sell them out. Same thing with the SoFi ones. I think we're going to get some good news for SoFi.
We got earnings on October 30th. That's when.
That last week of the month is going to be insane. We're going to see GM, Ford, Stellantis are all going. When is Tesla earnings? They should be this week, right?
Tesla earnings are.
That already happened.
No,
not the earnings. The numbers were released.
Right, but they usually a few days later.
I think it's October 19th.
Really? That far out? All right, that'll be a fun day. It was nice losing money with you, gentlemen.
All right, this is a fun one. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back 7 p.m. Hopefully tomorrow's a little bit better a day, and if not, I guess we'll.
No. I'm hoping for a worse day. I'm looking to accumulate right now. If it's going to be bad, let it stay bad. Honestly, I don't like the bad, good, bad, good. Let it stay bad. Let's accumulate, and then 2024. Let's hope that's better.
Dennis, Kris did get into Google today. Kris got some more Google.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. 350 people. Appreciate it.
Right.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye.